Phobias. Everybody's got one. But what if the thing that you feared the most affected the thing that you love the most? This was the case for Perth man and high-altitude mountaineer Patrick Hollingworth, who suffered from acrophobia, or better known as fear of heights.
Cottesloe Beach, the starting line for the famous Rottnest Channel swim that Patrick Hollingworth has taken part in for several years now. But competing in the Rottnest Channel swim is almost nothing compared to the challenges Patrick faced when climbing the world-famous Mount Everest.
So I was first introduced to the mountains by my mum and dad on a mountain walking holiday. I found that a little bit limiting, however, whilst I loved being in the mountains, the actual walking didn't take you up into the snow and the ice. And I thought that's where it looked like there was all the fun was to be had, and you need to have special skills to move up into that snow and ice conditions. And so I decided then and there that I'd come back. And fortunately, my brother, who's a really good climber, he came along with me on that. And then I subsequently did quite a lot of mountaineering, particularly with him, and we climbed together in Canada and a few other places. And then that eventually took me around the world and did quite a lot of climbing in the Himalayas, and I guess ultimately that took me to Mount Everest.
I think when it comes to a goal of this magnitude, is really, a lot of people think, oh, they must be so much better than other people. But a goal is a goal, and whether we can relate to it or not, it takes the same attributes and qualities of the character of the individual, which I call the champion mindset.
However, this goal was not easily achieved. It is in this photo of Pat during a mountaineering course in New Zealand that he discovered he had a crippling fear of heights, an obvious impediment in the way of his goal of climbing Everest. I was curious then to find out how Patrick was able to overcome this fear to continue doing the thing he was so passionate about.
Initially I was really overwhelmed by the environment. I didn't really, it wasn't a familiar environment to me, and I just saw danger everywhere. It's two things. Firstly, it's about managing your own fear and your internal dialogue, and talking to yourself in big strong words, saying, no, it's all right, I know how to deal with this situation. But also, as the more familiar you become with the environment, the better you become at differentiating something which really is dangerous, like a real hazard, from something that might look dangerous to the unfamiliar eye. But if you have the skill set and equipment, you can actually make it safe. So it was probably those two things that enabled me to manage that fear better.
Throughout the years, over 250 people have lost their lives to Everest, 4 of which occurred on Patrick's climb. Even he faced an incident that almost took his life.
Probably the worst incident was in 2006 on a mountain called Ama Dablam. She's about 6,850 metres high in Nepal. I developed high-altitude pulmonary edema, which is where you get fluid in your lungs and you become incredibly fatigued and it can kill you. That was a pretty unpleasant experience.
Due to the lack of oxygen and high pressure, Patrick's lungs filled with fluid. He had to descend with assistance of friends, which took 9 hours. Patrick was placed in a tube that is pumped to simulate a lower altitude. He was in the bag for 7 hours. This bag allowed him to drop pressure by about 2,000 metres.
What I admire about Pat is it's not going to be smooth sailing. It's not going to be a piece of cake. It's not going to be a walk in the park. There are days when you're going to say, why did I sign up for this gig? But then he said, hang on a minute, am I going to let this beat me? And the true nature of Pat Hollingworth is that, no, I'm going to learn from this, and then I'm going to go forward and amend, tweak, edit what I need to, maybe change my team, my support team. But then he really tapped into his champion mindset, and that resilience is what shines through.
Patrick still returned to the mountains 18 months later to achieve his goal, displaying his resilience and the ability to succeed in the face of adversity.
Hello everybody, this is Pat here. I'm calling in from the summit of Mount Everest. It was quite a long climb, 13 hours. It was a lot of people, so it was slow going and it was a bit frustrating. It's pretty cold up on the summit. There's a bit of a wind blowing but the views have been really spectacular. We've got to go. Before the weather craps out, we've got a long way to go down.